Welcome, everyone, to the Toledo Lucas County Public Library and the Monday meeting for the Toledo Rotary Club. If you all would take a minute and turn down the ringers on your phone, check into social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and let them know that what a great meeting you're at. And if you notice something during the meeting that is something of substance that you'd like to share as Jim Kamsickas presents on all the good things that Dana is doing, that would be great. Thank you. Now I'd like to ask Candace Harrison and Greg Fest to come up to do the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning, everyone. So I have a reflection that I am taking from the book, The Hill We Climb. And The Hill We Climb was the poem that was read at the inauguration of our current president, Joe Biden, by Amanda Gorman. I won't read the whole thing because it's very long, but I think it's always a good time to when we assemble to celebrate our service before self, but also celebrate our differences. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from our bronze pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-lined hills of the West. We will rise from the windswept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states, and we will rise from the sun-baked South. When we rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country, our people, diverse and dutiful, will emerge battered but beautiful. When the day comes when we step up out of the shade, aflame and unafraid, the new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light if we are only brave enough to see it, if we are only brave enough to be it. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you today mercifully, giving you thanks. Thanks, Lord, for waking us up today. Thanks for getting us here safely. And thanks for the ability to serve with people who are like us and people who are different than we are. We thank you, Lord, that on the sixth day, when you rose and you said, let's create man, you were creative, oh God. You didn't create us the same. You created us different. And we're thankful for that. We're thankful for the lunch that we have today. We bless the hands that prepared it. And we also bless the hands that took the time to order it. And make sure that when we arrived in a place of peace and an opportunity to serve and celebrate each other and celebrate the service in our community. We give this thanks in Jesus' name, amen.
I'm particularly humbled to lead the pledge today, as I'm reminded that our allegiance is to the flag, which stands for our country and our Constitution, and not to any one particular party or any one individual. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
How are you?
Thank you so much, Candace and Greg. As we begin our meeting today, I'd like to acknowledge DMC Technology Group and Pat Sheehan, our Rotarian and Club Treasurer, as our monthly sponsor. And to let you know that we still have sponsorships open for the remainder of this Rotary year. And if you're interested, to reach out to Jackie and she can let you know what the benefits are. If anyone has any guests, could you please take them to the floor mic and introduce them, please?
Good afternoon, President Cindy and fellow Rotarians. I feel like I do this far too often, but my guest today, along with my wife Tracy, is our daughter Bryn. Bryn starts back to school tomorrow, and actually, just because humble, proud moment for the parents, she's going to be a freshman this year, but she's actually playing 2 varsity sports at the same time this fall, so we're pretty excited for her. So.
Just 1 minute, Chris. We see that we have quite a house today, which is awesome. I just wanted to make sure everyone has a seat. So if you have not yet found a seat, can you please raise your hand? And Kathy and Cassidy will help you with that. Thank you. Okay, Chris, thank you.
President Cindy and fellow Rotarians, I'd like to introduce Kunal Dawar. Kunal is Vice President of Operations at Churchill's. He came here from New Delhi, India, 11 years old. He's now a graduate of the University of Toledo, and he's currently working on his PhD at Churchill University.
Awesome.
His major was family business and entrepreneurship, and I was his teacher, and he said it was his favorite class. I'm being serious. He is currently, let's see, what else? He's also, he's just a new member, and I know what it was. Walt has been trying to get him to join for several years, and he's finally convinced him now is the time. So I want to welcome Kunal.
And also like to introduce my guest, as last week, our controller, Matt Kretzer. Justin Glover and I have been working on trying to recruit Matt to join Rotary as well. So welcome, Matt.
All right.
Hello, President Cindy and Rotary members. My name is Kathy Selking. I'm with the library, and I'd like to introduce Cassidy Lape Wood, our events coordinator. You guys have probably seen her a lot as she helps set up the room in these meetings, and we're excited to have you here. And then we've got Talina Reynolds here. She's our affinity coordinator. This is really high. Affinity coordinator. Thank you. And she manages our volunteers here at the library. So if any of you are interested in volunteering at the library, Talina is the one you'd want to talk to. So thank you.
President Cindy, my fellow Rotarians, excited to welcome Jim Pollock. Jim is the president of Junior Achievement of Northwestern Ohio, and I'm going to keep pushing him, a prospective member, whether he likes it or not.
Hi, everybody. You all know me. I'm Jackie Bugay, the executive director here for the Toledo Rotary. I have 2 guests I'm introducing today. This is Kelly. She's a teen librarian here at Main Library. And when she was a student, she did a Rotary Youth Exchange program. And Monique here is a senior at Whitmer, and she's an interested Rotary Youth Exchange student. So, thank you.
Thank you. It's really nice to have all of you here today. If there's any visiting Rotarians in the room, which I know there's one, could you go to the floor, Mike, and introduce yourself?
Hello all, my name is Justin Glover. I am the immediate past president of the Maumee Rotary Club and excited to visit your club today. Did you want me to cover this? No. Okay.
Thank you, Jason. Glad to have you here. Jason also works with Churchill's, so which is great. All right. And right now, if I could have, we're going to introduce 2 new members, which is great. Kunal, if you could come up to the podium with your sponsors, and also Crystal Barman. If you are here and can come up to the podium with your sponsors, that would be awesome. So introducing Kunal Dawar today he was sponsored by Walt Churchill and Chris Anderson, and Chris is going to do his introduction. Crystal Barham was sponsored by Kendra Smith and Heather Carnes, and I see Heather is here today. So whoever wants to go first is great.
Geez, I'll get it right this time. I want to introduce you to Kunal. He's the operations manager at Churchill's. He came here in 1994 at 11 years old. He's been working for Churchill's for probably 25 years, and he started as a store clerk. He's been working with Walt. He really admires Walt. They've gone countless trips, trade shows, store visits, and he sees him as a second grandfather. I want to welcome Kunal to Rotary.
Come on up.
Hello, everyone. I'm Heather Carnes. President Cindy, fellow Rotarians, and guests, I'm excited to introduce our new member, Crystal Barham, today. I don't do anything off the cuff, so I have it all written. Forgive me, but I prepare, so that's how I handle things. Crystal is the Center Director at Health Partners of Western Ohio, whose mission is addressing gaps in health outcomes on the community level. She began in this role in 2018. Prior to that time, Crystal was the Manager of Community Engagement and Outreach at the Mental Health Recovery Services Board of Lucas County, where she developed and managed the agency's engagement and marketing strategies focused on ensuring a strong community presence, establishing productive relationships, and driving messaging and communication. Through her work, her family, and her volunteerism, Crystal is already very engaged in the community. She serves on the board. She's a board member for the West Toledo YMCA, a parent advisor for Groomed for Greatness, and serves on the PTA. She has a Bachelor of Science degree and a Master of Public Health degree from the University of Toledo. She also has a certificate in nonprofit management and executive leadership from the Center of Nonprofit Resources. In October of 2021, Crystal was a recipient of Toledo's 20 Under 40 Award, which is ultimately what got her directed toward Rotary, and I think a conversation with Jackie sealed the deal, so thank you, Jackie. Crystal is married to husband Courtney with a C and has 3 children. Her son Christian will be a freshman in high school. Her daughter Courtney with a K will be in 8th grade, and her youngest daughter Kai will be in 4th grade. A few fun facts that I have learned about Crystal from just a quick phone call, because today was our first opportunity to meet in person. She is positive and enthusiastic, and I could feel and sense all of that through the phone, so I'm looking forward to having more opportunities to work with her. We have many things in common. One is the love of the game of spoons. I don't know if any of you have played that, but it's a very rowdy family game, or any game, but it's rowdy. We also love leadership development and mentoring. And when Crystal is spending time with her family, she loves movie nights, game nights, roller skating, and sitting down to dinners. And when asked what she cares about most beyond community health and doing good, she said helping people with budgeting and personal finance. So I'm sure we will all benefit from her talents in Rotary. Thank you, and please join me in welcoming Crystal.
Welcome, Kunal and Crystal. We're super glad to have you with us. Now I'm going to go on to a couple of fun things. I would like to start by acknowledging Maria White and Jill Blackburn, if they're in the room. On Saturday, if you could stand up if you're in the room, they coordinated and supplied the desserts and drinks for all of us that went out on the Sandpiper Cruise. It was an awesome event with a lot of great networking, relationship building, sightseeing. We got to get, up and close with the silos and get to know each other a lot better. It was a little shaky at first, wondering if the weather was going to hold out, but the people were strong and brave, and they all showed up and we all weathered it. So we have a few photos for you here. right. So I'd like to thank Nelson Schaefer for the photos. Again, Jill and Maria for the coordination of this event and for all of those that showed up. It was a great fellowship. Keep your eyes peeled because there's a few more events in the works. I know that there's a Mud Hens game being planned and also possibly tailgating for the UT Rockets. So keep an eye on the spoke and we'll try to let you know here. Next, I'd like to ask Jason Glover of the Maumee Rotary to come up. He's going to give us a quick update on the Black Swamp Rotary Club Tree Reserve Picnic next month.
Thank you, Cindy. My name is Justin Glover. It's okay. I'm the immediate past president of the Maumee Rotary Club and the lead chair with this Black Swamp Conservancy project that is now being planned for a picnic for all of our Rotarians. So I'm here today. One, I wanted to thank the Toledo Rotary Club for their generous contribution, to this project, which was $10,000 towards these 6,600 trees that'll be planted coming this fall. With this project, the clubs have this great opportunity now to speak to the future of the importance of the environment, but also now cleaner drinking water. With these trees that are being planted, they are going to filter the water that's going to be going into the Maumee River to highlight that. This is just a small piece, which I put kind of some notes on your back of this invite for you guys here of this project where Black Swamp is going to not only plant these trees, but the site itself is going to have primitive camping sites on the grounds, as well as being connected to the tow path for biking. And there's also going to be a huddle bridge or boardwalk, I should say, that will be in place for fishing for the community. I'm here today because I want to promote our efforts that 12 clubs contributed on, and that's to make sure that all Rotarians reserve to go to the picnic on September the 10th. So at this picnic, we are planning not only to be able to take you to the site to view, but also very much making this a family-friendly event. There's going to be some games being planned for family and kids to the side, as well as now some education booths set to the side to educate and teach Rotarians and also the community at large about the importance of the environment. We have Operation Pollination being planned to be out there, as well as H2 Ohio, and looking at the zoo and Nature's Nursery to be there as well. But I do need to stress as much as possible today about those reservations. So with this picnic, it is a $10 fee for Rotarians to attend, but it will be free to your guests and family members. It'll be hamburgers, it'll be hot dogs, chips, water, and the reservations will be key at this point. Of course, we don't want to have waste going out, with the food, but I need to get those reservations. So on the back of this form, I've left also an email address for Sharon Trabick, who was my life savior last year in my president year. She has agreed to help with reservations. So if we need some help reserving for it, please reach out to herself or even myself. And we, like I said, we want to make sure we get as many of you out here to see this site. I'm super excited about it. A little bit excited for it to be done, but really excited to get everybody out there and you to see what our 12 clubs in the district has done. I see Rob back there. Is there anything that I might have missed that you might want to tell everybody, or? Yeah.
We're actually, okay, now I'm live. I'm going to start over. We are really excited to be partnered with Rotary on this project. The whole property sits within the floodplain of the Maumee River, and it's former farmland, which had nutrient application on it. So when the river would come up, it would wash those nutrients and sediment back into the river and out to Lake Erie, where it was exacerbating problems with the algal blooms that we've been having. By converting this property to functioning floodplain and wetland and establishing a nice tree cover with the 6,600 trees that are being planted in honor of District 6,600, we're actually going to be able to take those floodwaters and remove the nutrients that are in there, improving the quality of water in the Maumee River and Lake Erie, also improving habitat and creating some new recreational opportunities. This is a big project. It's a lot of work. We've got heavy equipment out there for about 6 weeks, and I really look forward to taking you out on the site, wear some sturdy boots, you're going to need them, and showing you exactly what we're doing. So thank you for your partnership and support here. We're pretty excited.
Thank you, Rob. And thank you, Cindy.
In addition to the flyers that are on the table, keep your eyes peeled on the spoke where you might have an easy registration link for you to jump on. Thank you so much, both Rob and Justin. One last note. Last week, if you were here or were on Zoom, you might have noticed that the video was a little bit inappropriate for our meeting. And I just want all of you to know that it's been addressed and we'll be good to go going forward. And next up, we have Jim Lehman here to present our guest today, guest speaker, Jim Kamsickas from Dana. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, President Cindy. Today it's my privilege to introduce Jim Kamsickas. He's Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Dana Incorporated. In fact, he just celebrated his 7th year in that position last Thursday. They supply engineered solutions that improve the efficiency, performance, and sustainability of powered vehicles and machinery around the world. Under Jim's leadership, the company has grown sales by 60% and executed 14 acquisitions over the past 4 years, establishing Dana, historically a mechanical company, as a complete electric vehicle propulsion system supplier. Jim is one of the most experienced and long-standing industry veterans with more than 30 years in the mobility business, spanning the light vehicle, commercial vehicle, and off-highway segments. He has led global organizations that supply significant vehicle content. Prior to joining Dana in 2015, Jim had been the head of 6 different companies. In the past, he's president, chief executive officer, and director at International Automotive Components Group for 8 years, VP of General Motors and Chrysler customer divisions at Lear Corporation. Jim has actively represented the interests of the automotive supply industry in U.S. congressional proceedings and the broader mobility supply industry as a member of the President of the United States Council on Manufacturing and Job Creation. In 2020, Jim was honored by the Motor and Equipment Manufacturers Association with the prestigious Triangle Award for his contributions to the vehicle supplier industry. Jim earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from Central Michigan University and a master's of business administration from Michigan State University. He also holds an honorary degree, doctorate of commercial sciences from the Central Michigan University. Jim is also on the board of MAPI Incorporated and the United Way of Greater Toledo and a member of our Rotary Club. He's a native of Saginaw, Michigan, and his favorite car is anything equipped with a Dana driveline. He and his wife Amy have 2 children, Jack and Jenna. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Jim Kamsickas.
Any of you ever see the video where they're announcing, if you're a golfer, they're announcing Tiger Woods at like a U.S. Open, and they go on and on and on. And then Phil Mickelson says, enough, enough, enough. So that was a little embarrassing, but thank you, Jim, for the opening. That's what happens when you get old, I guess, right? You've done a lot of things like the rest of you. Anyway, I heard that. So thank you, Jim, for sure. How many people out here have family, grandparents, parents, siblings, whatever, that worked at Dana? Quite a few, quite a few. I'll tell you, they told me that when I came to Dana 7 years ago. They said, trust me, when you walk the earth and you scorch the earth around the world, but also certainly here in Toledo, you're going to run into a lot of that. I didn't really believe it. I do believe it now. There's no doubt that there's a strong connection. I'm very proud to be part of it. So I presented here in 2016. Some of you may be aware. It's an honor for me to be back with you today. Those of you that may not know what's going on at Dana, I'm going to give you some introductory slides today. The one right in front of you may find particularly interesting, that it's a circuit board, right? I think we all know a circuit board. I'm pretty sure that not only 20 years ago, but 15, 10, or even 5 years ago, you would not have seen a presentation from Dana that had a circuit board, and we're going to explain a little bit why and how things are changed at Dana. So in 2016, when I last presented, we're in the midst of developing a new enterprise strategy that, among a number of important things, place vehicle electrification as the key growth for Dana. We made a lot of progress in the strategy and updated it in 2019. And I'm here to talk more about the electrification journey in the coming slides. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall Dana business as a whole. Last year, we recorded $8.9 billion of sales and are on track to top $10 billion this year. We employ 40,000 people around the globe and with a strategic footprint near our customers with more than 140 facilities in 31 countries. By every definition, our business is global. At Dana, we serve three core markets: light vehicle, which includes light-duty trucks and SUVs, heavy vehicles, and off-highway, which spans construction, agriculture, mining, material handling, forestry, and much, much more. Our business is organized around three markets, with the addition of power technologies, which is providing sealing and thermal management technologies to all of our mobility markets. On the right, you'll see we operate in a few major technology areas: drive, motion, electrodynamic, thermal, sealing, and digital solutions, a portfolio that has expanded rapidly since we launched our enterprise strategy. Since 2016, our sales have risen significantly from $5.8 billion and are expected again to top $10 billion in 2022, a more than 72% increase. Over the same time, we've increased the number of facilities that we're supporting our customers from 91 to 140. We've also grown global employment by more than 60%, from 25,000 people to over 40,000 people. As a result, our position on the Fortune 500 has risen 37 spots to number 391. If you look at the center of the diamond, you will see that Dana is one of only 50 companies that has been on the Fortune 500 every year since its inception in 1955. More than 2,000 companies have come and gone since the list was first published. Of course, that growth hasn't come without challenges. As I'm sure many of you are aware, it's a tough time to purchase a new vehicle. While we continue to see demand for vehicles across our end markets, it's set against the backdrop of some of the most challenging market conditions I've ever experienced in my 33-year career in the mobility industry. More than 15 as a chief executive officer. And I'm sure many of you are facing some of these challenges in your own businesses. Here's just a look at a few of them and our current challenges. From a material cost standpoint, raw material costs have been on the rise across the industry. Inflation, a term that we have all heard too much about lately, is impacting many of the cost inputs, including higher cost of labor, energy, and the transportation of goods. Supply chain, by now, you're probably aware of the chip shortage impacting the mobility industry. While these are important components, they are not the only products in the short supply. Vehicles are made up of thousands of components, and it only takes one to slow down or flat out stop production. Labor. Some of these supply chain issues are being driven by labor challenges. Across the board, manufacturers are having a difficult time finding and retaining workers. There is an aggressive competition for people. From a transportation perspective, the movement of goods is critically important. Sea freight has seen numerous challenges. The bottleneck that you may have heard of at the Long Beach a few months ago is now taking place in numerous ports around the world, largely due to COVID shutdowns, which is limiting the availability of containers, access to ports, and even the availability of drivers to move the goods not only in sea ships, but in over-the-road transport itself. That doesn't even mention the cost of fuel prices. Of course, there's COVID. For many of us, we have returned to our everyday lives in spite of COVID. However, in some parts of the world, the impact continues to weigh. For example, we've had some colleagues in China that were recently required to shelter in place or in their homes for nearly 2 straight months as they address the spread of COVID. Geopolitical, the Russian invasion in the Ukraine has placed additional pressure on the global supply chain and in the mobility industry. The Ukraine provides important materials, including everything from aluminum for the bodyworks to the high-grade nickel in electric vehicle batteries. Additionally, the Ukraine accounts for 7% of all copper wire harnesses exports to the European region, which has slowed vehicle production in that region. Production schedules, meaning the OEM's production schedules or vehicle manufacturers' production, all of these disruptions have added up to challenges for our customers in terms of predicting their production schedules, which places added pressure on the supply base. Is that enough? Okay. Now we move into all the fun stuff. Electrification. I'll just say before out of script, it's real, and get ready because it's coming. With that, of course, there's many bright spots for industry, and one of them is the emphasis being placed on electric vehicles. Dana made the strategic decision to push our chips into the center of the table in support of our customers on electrification. We, of course, continue to support the traditional vehicles, but our long-term growth will come from EVs. As Vince DiPaoli outlined last week, electrification accelerating over the last few years across all end markets. You can see from the points on the screen that some segments have a faster track than others, but it's coming very quickly. What does this mean for Dana, and how are we transforming the company to meet the needs? Dana has strategically invested in building our portfolios of technologies so that you can support our customers' move to electrification no matter where they might be on that journey. To date, we've invested more than $500 million in electric vehicle system capabilities, and we expect to reach more than $1 billion by 2025. Due to these investments, Dana is the only supplier capable of providing a fully integrated 4-in-1 electrified system completely in-house across all vehicle markets anywhere in the world. But we also retain the core mechanical competencies that have made Dana a world-renowned supplier for the last century. And we've expanded our abilities to offer electric components that are essential to electric vehicles. To support these efforts, we've expanded our electrification footprint, and we now have electrodynamic manufacturing in every major region in the world and are leveraging our strategically deployed technical centers near our customers to develop the next generation of electric technologies. And we are already seeing results from our investments. Dana is approaching more than $700 million in sales from electrified systems in 2023, and it's projected to have nearly $3 billion in electric vehicle sales by 2030. So naturally, you might ask, what does this mean for Toledo? For one, we've dramatically expanded our world headquarters campus. At the bottom of the right of the screen, you can see our Advanced Manufacturing Center at the corner of Maumee Western and Technology Drive, where we conduct prototype manufacturing and pre-production process and equipment development activities. Across the street, at our vehicle validation test track, we're able to test and demonstrate technology in the field. Our new Sustainable Mobility Center includes electrodynamic manufacturing and serves as a center of excellence for our sustainability efforts. And our world headquarters and technology center is at a central location globally for our engineering development and all business operations. This means we have changed the face of the company. We are not the Dana your grandparents knew when we worked on Bennett Road. We're a technology company that is rapidly hiring software engineers and IT specialists to advance in our vehicle control platform, digital services, and connected manufacturing. Yet we retain our long history in mechanical driveline technologies, which are the foundation to our business and is amplified by the work we are doing to advance electric propulsion. In fact, we are still the largest producer of gears. Those are not just automotive gears. We supply gears that open the roof of Wembley Stadium, open the locks of the Panama Canal, and operate the London Eye. The difference between Dana now and the past is that we have to change our mindset on not just what we produce, but how we manufacture it. We have a robust strategy focused on reducing the environmental impact of our operations across the globe. Let me share a video just to show you what I mean.
When the storm hits, some complain about the wind. Others hope for change, while the visionary adjusts the sails. Climate change is one of the most significant challenges of our time. So now, more than ever, the world needs dreamers and doers. But what we need most? Dreamers that do. At Dana, we power innovation to move our world. Our 40,000 people in over 30 countries partner with those who think without limits to advance a better tomorrow. It's at the heart of everything we do and why we've supported our customers' e-propulsion journey for decades. We are the only supplier with in-house capabilities to deliver all elements of a fully integrated electrified system across all mobility markets anywhere in the world. We lead by example, not only with the clean energy technologies we design, but in how we manufacture to protect a shared planet that intersects every aspect of our lives. It's a high bar, and we keep raising it. We work closely with suppliers to deliver a world-class, sustainable supply chain, and our science-driven approach means that we transparently validate and report on our climate actions. As we power the vehicles and machines that move our world, we treat people with respect. We rise by lifting others. Living an extraordinary life means making a positive impact where it matters most. We are Dana, people finding a better way.
Okay, so relative to our sustainability commitment, these aren't just words. There is ever-evolving strategy and action plans to drive these results. Dana has announced our commitment to reduce the company's annual greenhouse gas emissions by at least 50% by 2030. This will result in the reduction of more than 300,000 metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions annually, which is equivalent of the energy production from 65 large wind turbines. Locally, this focus on sustainability means we're leveraging our renewable energy to power our operations like you've seen at our Toledo driveline facility at I-75 and Jeep Parkway. This proceeds from the power purchased by Dana from the Solar Installation Fund's community initiatives around the facility through the Greater Toledo Community Foundation. More than just renewable energy, we're looking at how we can continue to restore and enhance the environment around us. Our team has installed EV charging stations at our world headquarters and Sustainable Mobility Center. which are already seeing great use. We have worked on river and highway cleanup and tree plantings and have partnered with Toledo Metro Parks on the Glass City Riverwalk, which you've heard just a few weeks ago. Large or small, we are looking at how we can make an impact. We do these things because they matter to our community. Many of you are no doubt familiar with Dana's rich history in Toledo. Founded in 1904, which we have had roots here reaching back more than 90 years, and we couldn't be prouder to call the Toledo community our home. All of our investments you have heard about today are having substantial and direct impact on our community. In fact, since I was last here, we have grown our employment in Northwest Ohio by more than 35%, adding employees at our manufacturing sites and world headquarters. We've also a new operation in Napoleon, Ohio, to support continued growth for our customers in metropolitan Detroit. Of course, to keep pace with the demands and changes in manufacturing, we need to ensure that we have a pipeline of skilled workers. As I mentioned at the beginning, labor continues to be a challenge, and it is likely to be for quite some time. This is why we partnered with Owens Community College last year to launch the new Advanced Manufacturing Training Center. This new facility helps address the shortage of skilled workers throughout northwestern Ohio and southeast Michigan. Dana has already had the opportunity to enroll students from our local facilities in the mechatronics program, which provides our team with the tools they need to be able to manage the controls, engineering, and maintenance of our state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities. Beyond our operations, we've also made significant impacts in several hallmark local activities. Just this past weekend, we saw thousands of people come to the town for the Toledo Jeep Fest. Many people aren't aware of this, but Dana is one of 5 companies credited with the invention of the Jeep. Today, we continue to be the driveline supplier for the Jeep Wrangler and Gladiator. And upcoming, we have the Dana Open presented by Marathon. As the title sponsor, we're proud to promote leading women's golfers and the women at Dana who are driving innovation. I'd like to just take a second and share the commercial.
Golf is a game of power and precision, of trusting your swing, of turning 3 shots into 2, of refining and improving. We celebrate the golfers changing the face of the game and the women at Dana who are powering innovation to move our world, changing the game, driving for excellence, advancing vehicle electrification. Dana delivers fully integrated electrified propulsion systems across all mobility markets. Dana, people finding a better way.
At the end of the day, it's going to be an impressive weekend of golf. The tournament has received entries from 8 out of the top 10 in the Rolex rankings, and 41 of the top 50 players on the money list will be here Labor Day weekend. I encourage you to come out and watch some great golf. Hope today's presentation gave you a better picture of the mobility industry and Dana's place in it. There are a lot of challenges. No one in this business would say it's been easy, but our people continue to find a better way so that Dana can continue to be a leader in the industry. We believe the future is bright for Dana, Northwest Ohio, and the mobility industry. I chose to close today's presentation with this slide because this year we are celebrating 100 years of being listed on the New York Stock Exchange. We are only one of 31 companies that has been listed as long or longer. Today you heard about the team's success at building Dana for the next 100 years. At the end of the day, we have the privilege to be the caretakers of an important asset for this community that was built by our family members, as we saw and raised our hands at the beginning of this meeting. And it continues to be built by our 40,000 team members across the globe. With that, I am open to take any questions.
Thank you so much for that great presentation, Jim, and congratulations on all the successes of Dana over these years, and wish you the best on the goals that you have set, as we all will benefit from them. So thank you. We have time for maybe a couple questions, and then he is willing to stay after the meeting to take additional questions.
I'll be very quick. Last year, our illustrious speaker gave us some wisdom on when to buy electric cars. He said 2 years, so I want to know if you own one now, and if not, when do you plan on getting your electric car?
Good question. I tried to get an electric car and there were none available. Shocker. That's a true story. But I do have one on order. So I'm ready for the journey, I can tell you that. And it's, needless to say, it's helpful in what we do for a living. Okay.
Two quick questions. When do you think electric vehicles, especially at the consumer level, can stand on their own without the generous government refunds and tax credits that we have now? And the second question is, how is Dana and the other companies that are very much committing themselves to the e-vehicle market going to work with China and the geopolitical ambitions that China has?
It's a lot. Well,
just short answers.
I'll do my best on that. So, basically on the first part, it's when do the cost curves come together, right? Cost of batteries versus, infrastructure and all that, and subsidies. And no one has the perfect answer to it, I don't think anyway. But I would tell you if you give me a direct question like that, I'll try to give you a direct answer. I would see it personally coming together, if I had to guess, by 2025, 2026. It's just, my 2 cents of it. And I guess I would think about it in this way. Everything is scale. Everything is volume in life. And if you just take any of the major OEMs, let's stick to light vehicle for a minute, car makers, let's put it that way. I mean, they're all in. I mean, we almost never even get a request for quote, as they call it, for anything that is associated with an internal combustion engine. Think about that. So that means they're placing their bets out there. And why are they doing it? Sidebar, maybe you've heard stats like this or not, but an internal combustion car versus electric car, there's 33%, plus or minus 33% less parts in an electric car than there is there. So as much as there's this battery cost issue out there, which is real, you also have the cost going the other direction this way, and there's going to be that. So that's it. As it relates to the geopolitical, you can see some of the things going through the government right now, relative to, they're calling it, I don't know the technical words, but, the Anti-Inflationary Act and so on and so forth. But don't be confused on what's really in there. It's almost all about green energy, right? It's like something like $675 billion, yes, with a B, relative to things that they're doing on new energy and emissions and all that. So I think, and that's not, and frankly, America's not leading in that. I'm not saying they're in last either, but compared to a lot of other countries, the world is moving quickly to the things that will support electric vehicles for sure. So I gave you a long answer to a long question, so there you go.
All right. Well, first, great presentation. I congratulate you and the Dana organization on the growth and innovation that I see in your presentation. I have two questions. I've limited it to, but a little bit of background first. I grew up at the Dana Corporation, worked there 11 years with Gary Corrigan and Jeff Cole. So my questions are kind of a guy looking back and, wondering, since then, with some of those things you covered. But two things I was kind of wondering, the sales growth that you've talked about, which is very impressive, and just this last year, really trickling up. I'm wondering how much of that sales growth is organic versus driven through acquisitions, my first question.
I don't have the exact numbers in there. I would say off the cuff about 60-40, 60 organic, 40 acquisition. Yeah, so we had been, before I got to Dana, we had gone at least 13, 14 years without an acquisition. So that was also part of the whole enterprise strategy, was you have to be very selective. And what we did is we picked spots where we needed technology, we needed footprint in various countries, and so on and so forth. So I think we were up to 12 acquisitions in the last 5 years, something like that. So combination.
Okay. And my second question is, when you came here, I'm wondering what was the biggest obstacle you faced in terms of trying to bring all this about? I know, having grown up at Dana, we thought we knew everything, and we acquired people. They thought they knew everything, so probably wasn't easy. So having said all that, what was the biggest obstacle that you faced in trying to bring all this about?
Wow. No, I don't mean it like there's a lot of obstacles. I just mean that's a good question. I would tell you, people, and if you worked at Dana, and by the way, Jeff never worked at Dana. He's employed at Dana, but he never really worked at Dana. There's a big difference, right? We don't.
I meant my reference to him in the nicest way possible.
I got it. No, I would tell you this, Dana, this is kind of lost, and those of you that work there will get it, or know people that work there. It is dramatically more complex than any other parts supplier in the world. Dramatically more complex. Complex from the standpoint of the multi-end market, to the market, to the product portfolio that we have. We don't even talk about the aftermarket that we do. Even some of you in the audience today said, "Are you kidding me? You open up Wendley Assembly? You actually raise and lower the Panama control?" People have no idea. So when I walked in, I was like, talk about fire hose, right? But the beauty of Dana is the benefit. You can do a lot of things with, one of my favorite things to focus on is synergies across markets, right? Synergies across products, synergies across people, most importantly, and getting people to work together on common goals. I don't have anything else to add, so I'll try to do that, right? But seriously, that was the biggest challenge, was just to understand the complexities of it and then try to figure out what's the best way to take one step further from the people that did a lot better job than I did the first 100 and some years.
Jim, as a thank you for your time today, we'd like to provide you with this book, The Historical Tales of Toledo, written by one of our former Rotarians, Clint Mock.
Oh, nice.
And we also will be making a $25 donation to the Polio Plus Fund in your name.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks again for your time. Thanks. Well, that was great. And today, we're going to close out the meeting with a little bit of Toledo Rotary trivia. And I'd like to ask Kathy Selking to come up to the podium and lead us in this. Oh, my mistake. If you can have someone take notes and write down your answers. Last time I gave you a little piece of paper at your table, but if you can flip over the flyer and write down your answers, that would be great.
All right, who was here last time when we did this? Yes, so you guys know that we're competing at your table. Do we have any winners in the room from last time? We're all winners. You are right. We are all winners in life. So you guys, I'll give you a couple minutes in between each question. You guys will vote at your table. You'll decide on your answer. At the end, we'll go back and we'll see which questions are right. And then the table that has the most correct will get, what do they get?
They get a pin.
They get
new Rotary Imagine pin.
Woo, so you guys all want that, right? And if there's a tie, we will do a tiebreaker. All right, are we ready?
Yep.
All right, what was the first state in the U.S.? Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware. What was the first state in the U.S.? Now whisper quietly unless you want your neighbors to hear your answers. I'm counting on this table of library employees to get all of these right, so.
No.
You can't use your phone, no laptops, no calling a friend.
Okay.
All right, next question. What is Chandler's last name in the sitcom Friends? I almost said it. Geller, Bing, Green, Buffet. What was Chandler's last name?
Got it? We all good?
All right, next one. What year was the first model of the iPhone released? 1999, 2005, 2007, 2000. Did anybody have that original iPhone?
Good question. Do we still have it?
All right.
Okay.
Next question. Oh, time for answers. Are you guys all ready? All right, first question. Oh. All right, Chip, okay.
There we go.
Delaware. Who had Delaware? Raise your hand. All right, keeping score. And we know the next one is Bing, Chandler Bing. Who had that one? All right, 2007. All right, so who had all three? Woo, okay, we've got a tiebreaker happening.
All right. So those of you that had, just go ahead.
Yeah, so if you have all three, you're going to answer this next question, and hopefully we'll have the winner from this one. How many phases of the moon are there? 6, 7, 8, 5. How many phases of the moon? I want to go the da 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 da. Everybody's got their answer down? All right, we're going to go with the answer. 8. Oh, we've got another. Who got that? These two? All right, do we do another tiebreaker?
I think we'll have pins for both.
Yep.
Give them both.
Okay, you are both winners. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Next week, on August 22nd, we'll be meeting here again in the Toledo Library, and we'll be having a State of the Club panel. And at that time, we'll go over what the goals are for the club again and where we are, give you an update. And we will also go over the club's financial health, just a quick little update and what we're hoping to do in the future. So please be sure to come. And I hope we get a crowd like we have today, because this is really great to see the room so full. Today we have 3 committee meetings. In this room will be International Services Committee. So if you could either exit the room kind of quickly or move to the this side of the room, that would be great. Program Committee will be meeting in the lower level next to the parking garage. And Disability Services will be meeting in Community Room 11, which is located out the door and to the right towards the end. As a last reminder, we're having a happy hour and new member social this Wednesday at Toll House, starting at 4:30. So if you're available, please join us. And with that, our meeting is adjourned.